You may have heard of the Daniel diet or the idea that Christians should be vegetarians, using the prophet Daniel as the primary example. We read in Daniel chapter 1 how he and his friends refused the king's rich food and wine and chose to eat only vegetables and water. And after a 10-day test, they were healthier than all the others. It's an inspiring story of conviction. But does the story mean that Daniel was a lifelong vegetarian and that God calls all of us to be the same? Let's look at the whole story, because the real lesson is far more powerful than just a diet plan. First, we have to ask, why did Daniel refuse the king's food? Was it just a health choice? Not at all. The king's food was a problem for two main reasons. First, it would have included meats that were forbidden by Jewish law. Second, and most importantly, it was almost certainly first offered as a sacrifice to Babylonian idols. For Daniel, eating that food would have been an act of compromise and worship to a false god. His choice was not about nutrition. It was about consecration. He was drawing a line in the sand, declaring that his primary allegiance was to the God of Israel, not the king of Babylon. God honored his stand, and good health was the byproduct, not the primary goal. So, was this his diet for the rest of his life? Many people stop reading in chapter 1. But the Bible gives us a crucial piece of evidence nearly 70 years later. In Daniel chapter 10, Daniel is an old man, and he is in a period of intense prayer and mourning for his people. In verse 3, he says this, "I ate no choice food, no meat or wine touched my lips." Think about that for a moment. You can only give up something that you normally consume. The fact that Daniel had to specifically give up meat and wine for this 3-week fast proves that meat and wine were part of his normal diet as an old man. This is the key. Daniel's vegetarian diet in chapter 1 was a temporary test of holiness, just like his fast from meat in chapter 10 was a temporary act of prayer. He was not a lifelong vegetarian. So, if you want to follow the Daniel diet, what does that truly mean? It is not about becoming a vegetarian, though that can be a wonderful and healthy personal choice. The real Daniel diet is a diet of uncompromising conviction. It is asking the question, what in my life is defiling my walk with God, and having the courage to remove it? The real Daniel diet is also a diet of purposeful sacrifice. It is asking, what good and permissible things in my life, like certain foods or comforts, can I set aside for a season to draw closer to God in prayer? The Bible gives us freedom in many areas, but it always calls us to holiness and a clear mind. The point of Daniel's story is not to give us a universal menu, but to give us a universal model of a man wholly dedicated to God. He inspires us to ask the better questions, not just what should I eat, but who should I honor, and what am I willing to sacrifice for a deeper relationship with my Creator? So yes, by all means follow Daniel. But do not just imitate his temporary menu. Imitate his uncompromising and consecrated heart. That is a diet that will truly make you strong. May God bless you with the conviction and courage of Daniel.